camera pisses me off. I was just filming. I was not making a lot of sense. I am having a weird day. I'm mostly feeling anxious with a sprinkle of depression. I'm not sure why. I think it's like, well, I guess this could be a topic of what I want to talk about today. It's knowing your tells for when you're feeling anxious. I think it's important to know these things because you can take the steps to maybe try to get yourself out of a particular situation that you're in, like physically in that moment, or you can maybe prepare yourself for an impending panic attack or anxiety attack. I'll tell you my tells. I've noticed it happens more when I am still, like when I'm idle. And what I mean by that is yesterday, for example, I was feeling a little meh. And I was also feeling really energized, and so I went through and I hardcore deep cleaned my whole house. I cleaned out my closets, I like got soap and water and like cleaned my baseboards, I did all of my laundry, like I worked out, I did everything, which felt really good. On the flip side, I have nothing to do today. I realize that there are people out there who would like kill for that. I think yesterday marked 7 weeks since I've stopped working. Perhaps 8. I don't know, but it's, you know, I've had a couple of these days already. I've noticed that they allow my mind to wander, but it'll sometimes happen when I'm not home alone. In fact, on St. Patrick's Day, I was at a bar. So I was surrounded by people, which was the problem. I was surrounded by people. I had Sean there, my friends there, and I was feeling extremely anxious. So it's not necessarily being alone that causes it, but when I'm sitting still and I'm like overstimulated. Hi, puppy. Hi, honey. When I'm sitting still and I'm like, you know, either being overly stimulated by just like a crowd of people, or, hi, sweetheart, or if like I'm home alone and I'm being, you know, like my mind is racing, those kinds of things. And so, I mean, it's kind of like well-lived. So when you're home alone, you get really anxious, but when you're out with a bunch of people and your friends and your husband, you get really anxious. Like, sounds like you can't win. I mean, sometimes it can suck, but there's that. I also have noticed like different tics I have when I'm anxious. One is I get very quiet. I'll do one of two things. And again, they kind of are polar opposite. So again, it's like, okay, so how can you really tell? It goes along with a feeling. So it's not like, oh, if I'm staring off into space, I must be getting really anxious. Sometimes I do it when I'm tired. It's just, I do notice, you know, if I'm feeling like some type of way and I can't quite figure out how to articulate how I feel when I'm anxious. If I'm feeling, you know, if I'm feeling it, I don't know how else to say it. I notice that I do one of two things. I'll either like, kind of like dart around, like my eyes, like I'll just be like looking every which way. And that usually happens when I'm in a crowd. And I think subconsciously I do it because if I stare off into space, fucking assholes usually do the whole like, hello, which I hate that. Side note, I hate when I'm like staring off into space and people like do this thing, like, let me have my moment. But when I'm home alone or, you know, whatever, at home, just chilling, watching TV, I'll stare off into space. I also, what will go along with either eyes darting around or staring off into space is I chew on the either side of my lip. Or, because I'll do this again at the same time. I'm very talented. I can do several things at once, all while having a minor panic attack. Pick at my cuticles. I can do it one-handed. I can do it with both hands. I have torn my skin down to my knuckles before just from picking, and it's gross. I know, but I can't help it. I'm a picker. I fucking hate doing it because it's gross. I have ugly hands. So there's all of that. And so sometimes, you know, I'll be out and I won't quite notice it. And then all of a sudden I'll catch myself, you know, like I said, looking around and biting at my cheek. And that tells me like, okay, Libby, your mind, you're getting a little, your anxiety levels are starting to raise. Because to be fair, I feel anxious just about every minute of every day. It's just a matter of what's tolerable and what's not. Sometimes I don't even notice the feeling, and I don't know if it's because it's not there or if it's because I've lived with it for so long that it just doesn't affect me when it's so low. Those are tells that my anxiety is raising. And so there are different things that I do to get out of those situations or to try to my best alleviate them. Sometimes panic attack, if it wants to come, it's gonna come. First things first, if you're out in a public setting, drinking, my advice to you, jot this down, is to put down the alcohol. Okay? No one ever solved a problem by doing a shot of tequila. That would be the first thing, because I've been out with people before where they're like,
I'm so anxious, I'm so stressed, get me a shot.
Trust me, it will not work. So I usually will put down what I'm drinking, ask for a glass of water, and just like, you know, take a moment, take some deep breaths. Sometimes I'll, you know, dart off to the bathroom just to be in like my, even if it's in a loud bathroom, just to be like in a stall by myself where I don't have to explain why I'm staring off into space or what have you. Only been, I'm sure, a couple of times. I can actually only think of one situation where I've actually had to physically leave the bar and go home. That was during a beer stroll a few years ago. And it was in the early stages of me getting to know my anxiety, and looking back on that day, I could seriously list to you places and just different points of that day where it was getting progressively worse and I was ignoring it because I didn't want to ruin my friend's good time. And you know, that can be really stressful because I want to take care of myself. And this is a conflict I have with myself, because I want to take care of myself, and you know, I don't want to have a panic attack in public, although I have had one at the bar even just a few months ago. That was embarrassing. I'm sorry, I wasn't on the bar, I was on the street out in public where everyone could see me. Full on meltdown. But I struggle with this myself. I can empathize with people who don't have anxiety and have loved ones who do, and you're out with them and they want to leave the bar, or they're being a little, you know, to themselves sad person out over in the corner and just kind of bringing down the mood. And so I can empathize with how frustrating that is, because I struggle with it myself. I've had friends or acquaintances who, you know, we've maybe connected or bonded because we both have anxiety and depression. We're just like, oh my God, girl, me too. And we can relate to one another. At the same time, God, this video sucks. I get frustrated with people who don't take care of themselves. And that's where I struggle empathizing with people who have anxiety and depression. And I'm not saying that you have to take care of yourself the way that I do. You know, if you don't want to take medicine, okay. If you can live without taking medicine, if you can function without taking medicine and doing other shit, cool. But if I don't see you taking any step to do... My dogs are fighting in the hallway. Really, ladies? I struggle when I don't see that you know, someone I care about or whatever is not doing anything to take care of themselves, yet they want all the sympathy that comes with the struggle. And maybe that's really fucked up. Maybe that's really, really selfish of me. You know, imagine I'm sitting here eating a bowl of soup and then I start puking and it's like, oh shit, you're getting sick, you're getting food poisoning. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, you don't understand. You can't relate. Ugh. This is so hard. This is so difficult for me. No one gets it. No one No one's there for me. And I'm sitting there and I'm whining to you. I'm making you feel bad, because by saying no one's there for me, I'm literally telling you that you're not there for me. And yet I'm not doing any good to myself because I'm still eating the soup that is making me sick. I am doing nothing to get myself better. That's where I struggle, because I have had a lot of people in my life who maybe are prescribed medication, but they abuse it, or who are prescribed medication, start taking it, and then cold turkey stop and freak out. And I can say that as someone who has stopped taking my medication before. And when I do, I am fully aware that the consequences of doing that are 100% on me. And again, maybe that's not fair. You know, maybe I shouldn't punish myself. You know, if I stop taking my medication and then I have like a full-on breakdown, I shouldn't punish myself, and maybe I should, you know, go to Sean and have him be there for me. I don't know. Maybe that's just like tough love Libby saying like, no, Libby, you get no sympathy because you chose to stop taking your medication cold turkey. But it's just, it's always a struggle because I want to empathize with people and I want to relate to them. But at the same time, it's important to know be aware and be familiar with your body and know what you need to do to take care of yourself and doing it. And you know, maybe I am being really kind of a bitch and a hard ass and tough love. Maybe this is that thing I told you, I am going to offend you one day. Maybe this is that thing. But it's coming from a place of experience when I tell you, put down the bowl of soup and go see your doctor. And I'm not saying go have your doctor write you a prescription for Xanax because that'll solve everything. Trust me, I have seen the bad effects of Xanax. But what I'm telling you is have a conversation with your doctor. If you don't want to go on medication, tell that to your doctor. That is, when I went to my doctor the very first time, that is something that I told her. I was so scared to get on medication because I just simply was scared of the thought that I would have to depend on medication for the rest of my life. That is what I was scared about. And when I was finally officially diagnosed with, you know, I told her everything that was going on. I told her all my symptoms and things like that. And she was like, yeah, you have depression and you have anxiety and you need to take this. Or she didn't say you need to take this, but she encouraged it. She recommended. She wrote me the fucking prescription. I cried. I was so upset because I didn't. And again, this is one of those, it's about me, it's not about you. Because it has nothing to do with me judging people who do take medication or who need medication. It had everything to do with, I was just scared of who I was and that I would need this medication for the rest of my life. I was terrified. So I can relate and understand that fear. So go to your doctor, explain to them what you're going through and tell them, look, I really don't want to be put on medication. And your doctor, you'll have a conversation. You'll go over all of that and they'll recommend things to you. I mean, there's a reason they went to school for so long. And that too, you can find doctors who don't necessarily prescribe medication. I'm sure you can find doctors who do like holistic type medicine and shit like that. Just do something, because it is heartbreaking to care about someone more than they care about themselves. And so if you want to think I'm a bitch because I'm sitting here telling you like, if you're going to keep eating the soup, I don't really feel bad for you. It's not that I don't feel bad. Trust me, the bad feeling is there. It's that I feel bad, but more so I feel angry because I love you and I want you to take care of yourself. And yeah, I don't know why this turned into that kind of a rant, but it's been something that's been on my mind a lot lately, I guess. And I know that some of the stuff I said is hypocritical. Do I always take perfect care of myself? Absolutely not. But again, I said that I'm speaking from a place of experience. Put down the alcohol if you have to. Put down the drugs. Talk to your doctor. Have a conversation, have an open mind, and figure out what works for you. So there's that. I don't want this video to be super, super long. So I have noticed since editing my videos, I always say like, so I'm gonna end it there, and then I talk for like 5 more minutes. Sean and I were watching a video the other day. He's like, you've said that twice in this video already. I know. I leave it in there on purpose because I think it's funny. I haven't said it yet, to be fair. So, like I said, I don't want this video to be too long. I have another like topic or whatever mulling in my mind, but I guess I'll just stop here. Oh. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna go over it real quick because it's super short and sweet. I thought of this analogy all by myself. I love thinking of like analogies and comparisons. Really sorry if you can see me leaning and like not looking at the camera. I'm like looking at a little sliver of reflection of my camera in the mirror so I can make sure it's still on because I'm gonna be pissed if it stops recording again. Think of it this way. A storm is coming. It's kind of hard to I think, relate to this a little bit if you're in Michigan because we don't get hurricanes, but we've seen like movies with hurricanes in them. What do? You go to the store, you get your water and your dry goods, you board up your windows, you go to your basement, or maybe you don't go to your basement in a hurricane, I don't know. But you do things to prepare for the storm that is coming. Does it stop the storm? No. But are you prepared? Yes. And what I'm saying with that analogy is I can't always stop or prevent an anxiety attack. But what I can do is, like I said, you know, if I'm drinking, put down the alcohol, drink some water, go off to a place where I can at least be quiet and alone, because boy, is it embarrassing to have an anxiety attack in public. I have medication to help me. You know, my doctor has prescribed to me Xanax to take as needed. And I'll tell you what, the day that I got the call being told that I was let go from my job, I was grateful to have it, because I tried deep breathing and walking and I tried everything before going to Xanax. But when I was having a full-on hyperventilating, exactly what you picture when you hear about anxiety attacks, I was glad to have it. And so did I prevent it? No, but at least I was prepared for it. I don't want to say I saw it coming, because obviously I didn't know that was coming. You know, if I'm out in public and I start to feel that feeling that I get when I can tell that I'm feeling anxious, I can't stress it enough, put down the booze, get a glass of water, I go outside, you know, go to the bathroom. Another thing actually that helps too is, it's called grounding, I believe is what it's called. And it's where you just, so often when we have anxiety attacks, we are light years ahead. We are thinking about like, what if? And so it's bringing yourself back to where you are. So for example, right now, if I were to start feeling anxious or whatnot, I would sit here and I would say, okay, it's Wednesday. I am in my, I don't want to call it a beauty room. That sounds lame. My makeup room, because that's less lame. I'm in my makeup room. I'm filming, talking to you. The dogs are downstairs. I can hear HGTV in the background. I have my LaCroix and it's cold. They say too, that's a thing where you want to like 5 things you can touch, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can, something like that. And it just has to do with your senses. And it's just reminding yourself like, I've 1 foot on the ground because I'm sitting on my other one, but it's like I have 1 foot on the ground. It's just those types of things that helps. And I don't want to sit here and sound like a hippy dippy, like just center yourself and take a deep breath, because you know what? Sometimes you got to call in the big guns and take a fucking Xanax. But, oh my gosh, I sound like I'm a Xanax pusher right now. I'm not. But you get, I really, I hope my point is coming across. It's just, take the time. I don't want to say get to know your body again, because that makes me go to a weird place in my head. But like, get to know your tells, your signs, your symptoms. Talk to your doctor. Know what it is that you want as a goal in your life of anxiety and depression. See a therapist. I can never stress that enough. Whether you have it or not, seeing a therapist is just like a good thing. But seeing a therapist and, you know, just knowing what will help subdue an attack, but be prepared in case it happens anyway. That makes sense? I hope it did. I hope that made sense. I don't know. I'm having a really anxious, shitty day, so I'm just feeling kind of... That's a tell, in case you're ever wondering if Libby's feeling anxious. I babble. I ramble. It's like I have to get you all the information in my head, like ASAP. It's super annoying. So, yay. I hope this video didn't fucking completely suck. That's me being anxious. Like, I just like... I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I want, you know, I hope you guys like my videos and I hope you don't hate me. Like, obviously I don't want you to hate me, and I do hope you like my videos, but like not in a, I just want to feel like I'm not useless. That was really sad. I'm gonna end it on that note because that was fucking fun, right? Anyway, Thank you for watching. Especially if you made it through this one, because I think this one was a struggle. It was a struggle for me. I guess you've now seen the depressed Libby and the anxious Libby.